Imagine a life where you are not just counting down to the weekend, with enough energy to live life on your terms and without the stress of just making ends meet. Why do we celebrate how many things are on your calendar, brag about how good we are at multitasking, and vacation once a year to try to escape from the stresses of your life? And so I found myself at the age of 23 years old, trying to balance college, my corporate 9-to-5 finance job, pursuing my passions, and just living my life. And it was stressing me out beyond belief. What was the purpose of this all? There had to be more than just living to the weekend. And the fact that I was already feeling that at 23, I didn't know what to do. And that's when I discovered slow living. Slow living is a practice to live a more balanced, meaningful life through slowing things down and appreciating both the world around them and what they have. Slow living allowed me to live a life of intention and break out of the societal norm. So I went ahead and broke down a 4-step practice so you can begin living an intentional life on your terms. Part 1, less decisions, more commitments. Have you ever actually thought about how many decisions you make every day? It's estimated that the average adult makes 35,000 remotely conscious decisions each day. Each decision, of course, carries certain consequences with that are both good and bad. I found myself spending such tremendous time trying to decide what decision I was going to make. I was so hung up on making the right or the good decision that I ended up making no decision at all and ultimately letting whatever happened just happen. I was putting the control into life's hands, and I felt like it was just slipping by my fingers. And I knew that I needed to change this. And so that's when I decided to begin committing to myself. When I began committing to my own life, it made me be present, and it let me have the confidence that I wasn't making a good decision or a bad decision. I was simply making an intentional decision. Part 2. Write down what you value. And this was surprisingly much harder than I thought it would be. Life goes so fast, and I had never actually stopped to take a moment and to reflect on what it is that I wanted to do. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. Something that helped me substantially was to think about writing a letter to my younger self about the best parts of my life. I found that I rarely talked about the material items or the achievements I had in my career, but ended up writing down what I truly cared about. Writing down what truly matters in your life helps destroy the illusion of what you thought you were working for or living for. A lot of times we work to make money to have a life that we want to live. Ironically, while we are doing that, we are missing the life that we're working for. Oftentimes we don't even realize what life is. What is it that we actually want? It's an escape mechanism to be able to say, I'm doing this for a life in the future. While it is good to plan, and it is good to be able to have safety nets and things in place, we want to make sure that we are present in the moment as well. I used to say that I was living the life I thought others wanted of me, or the comparison to that in which I saw on social media. But this showed me that those were all false narratives. I was scared to not fit the mold. Part 3, the 24-hour rule. Now there is truly only one rule that we all have to follow, and that is that there is 24 hours in the day. From the richest person in the world to the poorest, we all have equal time. And as you get older, unfortunately, the responsibilities just start to stack up, and there's no way that you can avoid this. And that can truly become increasingly more difficult. Time is a created thing. To say I don't have time is like saying I don't want to. And when I was working at my job, I truly loved having the excuse that, I'm sorry, I don't have enough time. But honestly, that was just an escape, and it was the easy way out. When I began understanding what my values were and what it was that I was intentionally wanting to do with my life, all of a sudden my schedule became far more clear because I knew exactly what I wanted to do and what I wanted to put my time and energy towards. But the most important part of prioritizing your values on your calendar is that you do not negotiate with that time. Now, I really like to think of time like currency. You have to be somewhat selfish with your time because there's people that can truly use it and benefit from it. But if you give it to everyone freely, soon you will become broke. Part 4. You will miss out, and that's okay. The use of technology is such an integrated part of our life that we have become accustomed to bouncing from one form of stimulation to another. Listening to a podcast, to answering emails, to chatting with your friends and family can take up a significant amount of time and energy, especially if you're doing all of them at the same time. And I truly believe that this is one of the big issues that we are having to face, that we truly do feel FOMO, or the fear of missing out, anytime that we're away from our phones or our laptops or social media itself. We feel like we're going to miss on an incredible opportunity, or that we're not going to belong amongst our peers or amongst society. One of my greatest recommendations is to leave your phone in your car or your backpack or your purse, or just keep it at home in general and go out in nature in whatever way you like. I found any time that I was really struggling with something or feeling stressed, lacking confidence, feeling scared, that anytime that I was in nature, it all just washed away because I saw how insignificant it is in the grand scheme of things. Life is so precious and such an incredible gift that we're able to be here that it's not even worth really dictating too much time and energy towards stress. And you could make the argument that while I'm doing that, I am missing out on something. I think the lessons that I'm learning out by myself in nature are far more precious than something else that I would have missed out on. And one of the most beautiful things about slow living is that it puts the power back into your hands so you can begin to live a life of intention on your terms. Using these same 4 steps I just discussed is how I was able to quit my corporate 9-to-5 finance job at the age of 23 to embark on my passions. Through this time, I learned on one of the massive societal expectations that we are all face and all think that we need to work for, and how I think it causes a lot of people, almost everyone actually, to waste their lives and to work in the wrong direction. So I went ahead and I broke down a video so you don't have to be one of those people. So go ahead and make sure that you check that out.